in the professional world, what are some different consequences when something misses a deadline? Do those consequences exempt the person from ultimately performing the task? This comes into the question of late work, deadlines, learning on a schedule or learning it eventually, retakes, things that are addressed in a lot more detail in subsequent chapters in 11, 12, 13, 14. Or 11, 12, 13 talks a lot about the how, especially about late work makeups, that kind of thing. And 9 and 10 are like the what. Are you going to do this or not? So, Morgan,
yes,
your response.
Okay, so
In the professional world.
well, in the professional world, if you miss a deadline, right, you could be fired. You could lose money. You could also, depending on what that deadline specifically is, like if it's just something that you kind of arbitrarily put for yourself in order to make it so that you're not procrastinating all the way to the end. Sometimes there's zero consequences whatsoever. It's more of just like, okay, well, this needs to get done kind of thing. So when it comes to in the classroom, like how you're mentioning with late work specifically, it says, do those consequences exempt the person from ultimately performing the task? So with the homework and with the structure of like learning the material, I found it fascinating as the very first time that I had read through this of like homework. Absolutely. It's important. Why would we have homework if there wasn't some benefit to it? It's extra practice if it's needed, right? If that is, what a student needs in order to repeat that material so that they're able to perform whatever the standard is that we're trying to give them. Here, what it talks about and what I really enjoyed is that although homework is important, just like when you're about to do a presentation for, your job or whatnot, some people need the practice in front of the mirror. Some people need the, okay, I need to write out all my note cards. I need to do all of this kind of stuff. But some people also can just show up because that already is within their skill set. So this concept of that late work, deadlines, can that student perform? Right? Can that student perform? Is the deadline an assessment? Is the deadline a performance? That's a little bit of a different, situation and kind of question. But here, that deadline usually is, did you do what I asked you to do by the time that I asked you to do it? Right? Or have you reviewed this material? Whatever it might be. I really enjoyed that the idea of homework is there if they need it, but for it to be required as a daily monitoring type of thing is not necessary. It's not something that, it can be always went back to, right? If we get to that performance, if we get to that speech, if we get to that project and whatnot, and there isn't an ability to demonstrate that standard and whatnot, then we go back, okay, well, have you been practicing? That's where the conversation happens rather than practice. Okay, go do it. Why didn't you learn it? Right? It's a complete flip-flop of the way that I was taught in school, probably you too, of the daily homework and making sure that we turn it in the very next day, right before the bell rings, or else it's late. And the time frame of that for everybody is different.
Yes.
So based on their own skills and desires and passions and motivations.
Yeah, the genuine interest that leads to their ability to focus on a subject. If you're interested in math and science, you're going to be able to sit and do that homework with a lot more focus than other subjects which you don't care about.
Yep. And
that's not, contrary to popular opinion, that's not ADHD. That's just called being a human being.
Yeah, it's interest.
Yeah. If but if you like the epic story time of world history, if it fascinates you to learn about different people and different times, maybe you'd love that and hate the science book. We're not the same, all of us.
Yeah.
I agree about your assessment. Like, there are deadlines in real life, but it made me think about, as an adult, you're able to prioritize and choose your deadlines.
Sure.
If you're in a job that has a lot of deadlines that you're not doing well with, you're able to quit that job and do a different one. You're also able to get fired and be forced to choose a different one that is for which you're a better fit. That's real life. Some people do well with stress and deadlines and performance and like it. And when they're focused on a list of things to do, perform very well if it's a job that fulfills them in some way. But in school, students aren't able to choose their deadlines or their priorities or where to put their time. And in a lot of situations, they're really not able to choose. There are things that are out of their control.
Majority.
Yeah, majority. Pretty much out of all of the students that I have in my current job, I'll have 1 or 2 a semester that have the ability to do homework.
Yep.
And will reliably do it. You know, there are some students who are really well focused and want to go home and still think about school. And there are some that just can't because they go home to chaos.
Yeah.
They go home to a home life that does not support school as a priority whatsoever. So who am I to make a judgment on that? And ultimately, what might be best, if we're going to use math as an example, you teach math. I loved math. I excelled at math, and math also drove me absolutely insane and provoked most of my fights with teachers.
Yes.
Despite usually being the strongest mathematics student in a class.
Okay.
That's what would provoke the fights. Because it would really come down to like an 8-year-old version of me going, F your practice problems. If I can do the hardest one, why do I need to do the other 43?
Yes.
If I can already do this in my head, will you please leave me alone?
Yeah.
Can I do something more fun? Can I do something more interesting? Can we move on? Well, the answer is no, because there's a lot of you in here. And in this factory model, I kind of have to move you all along at the same pace. And that frustrates the teacher. Because would they love to just sit and do math with you at your own pace? Absolutely.
Sure. Oh
Every,
my God.
Every math teacher all day long. Yeah.
10 students to a class?
10 students, 8, 6.
Yeah.
A small group of 4. They're all roughly at the same level. Yeah. Let's plow through 7th grade in 4 weeks because some of those kids can.
Totally.
Absolutely can. And move on through 8th. And by the end of junior high, they're, starting calculus their freshman year of high school. There are kids for whom that's reality.
Yeah.
And they sit in a class bored and then they start to cause problems.
The behaviors come.
Yep. The behaviors come.
It makes sense.
It does. They're bored. They're frustrated.
They're children.
Yeah. And we're not here to redesign the whole school system. But if you identify that that's what's going on, I believe it should become easier to deal with.
Yeah.
If you know, like, oh, that's what I'm looking at. This kid's not a problem. The school system's a problem because it's not meeting them where they're at. It's not challenging them. It's really not helping them learn anything.
It's hard.
Yeah. They learn more when I give them the book and leave them alone.
Because they want to.
Because they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they could sit and read science and math books all day long, or history books, or novels, if we could just sit and dissect literature all day, this 12-year-old would do that. Or whatever age you teach. So I'm not convinced how well the idea of deadlines in school and the idea of deadlines in the professional world are even a fair comparison.
I love that you had brought that concept of, well, I can quit, right? I can leave this. This does not serve me. I can find what does serve me. And there's a level of, okay, well, making sure that we have some sort of discipline so that when we do find that area that does serve me, I can do the hard things, right? I do know to a degree how to study or whatnot. But if it is not something that serves me and I do have that skill set for something else, that is an active choice I can make. Yeah. Or that is a choice that is made for me to where it's like, okay, well, then you're done.
Or I can tell my boss, I'm sorry, I'm not going to have that ready by the time you expected it. Where do we go from here? I've been working on it really hard every day, the best I can, and we're just not going to get there.
Yeah.
So, because I have a family and I have a life, so where do we go from here? Let's reevaluate. And most human beings will talk to you like a human being.
Sure.
And there are a lot of things outside of the professional world, like the real life really doesn't have that, like, you can reschedule. You can reschedule your driving test. You can reschedule your C-sets. You know, you can
take them again.
You can take them again. You can fail a college class and take it over. Is there money involved? Yeah. Is there time involved? Yeah. Is there academic probation, financial? Yeah, there are consequences, but they're real consequences. They're not the arbitrary consequences of my job of teaching 200 students at the same time will be the simplest, the easiest to manage if I have everybody doing the same thing at the same time on the same day.
Absolutely.
You will all take the test on this date, regardless of your readiness for it. You will all take it, regardless of how well I've been able to work with you and prepare you for it. That's where we're at. And the homework and the practice problems and the projects and all of those things. That being said, students are not great at organizing their time when it comes to great big tasks.
Sure.
And rely on us to set checkpoints for them.
Sure. That is our job, right? To be able to show them like, okay, well, this large, complex system objective that we need to, do, this is a way that you could structure it. This is a way that you could set yourself up so that you're not overwhelmed. If this is something that is an overwhelming concept or task for you, this is a way to kind of break that down so that they do have that practice of scaffolding to a degree, right? Of taking the bits and pieces that work for them, accomplishing them little by little, day by day. And then there are some kids that no matter how, like for example, I do Genius Hour. I've mentioned this before, right? Large project that they do every trimester where there's a different theme, different topic. But at the end, you need to teach me as if you're a teacher. You need to teach the entire class that concept, right? You need to be a genius in that subject. There are some students that the topics that they pick, they really do a good job of doing it within their wheelhouse and somewhat of already a knowledge base that they have so that they can kind of just take it to the next level. And they can do their projects instead of 12, 13 weeks, they can do them in 2.
Yeah.
Because
they love it.
They love it. They know it. They're going to spend a couple hours every single day at home learning the material, putting it together, trying to reword it so that their best friend that doesn't give 2 shits about it is going to go, oh my God, that's actually kind of cool. Right? So allowing them to have that opportunity to have those deadlines and checkpoints, it's also kind of a reminder for them of like, hey, I know you can do this. I know you can do this in the last couple of weeks. You're that type of person. So-and-so isn't. So we're going to help them along. But if you don't want to do that and you do want to have more time in your last couple of weeks, this is what I would suggest. That way, when they do come across the projects or concepts that maybe they do struggle with a little bit more, they have that knowledge base of like, okay, well, if I do this every 3 weeks, okay, how many steps does this actually take? Okay, well, how long is that going to take me to accomplish each step? That is what our job is. But to punify whether or not they do that is where these chapters are really hitting home of, is that necessary to punify the idea and the concept of learning?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what they're doing. They are learning what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And yeah.
Hopefully that it's a metacognitive process for them learning, how they learn.